Hey YouTube, welcome back to yet another video. I am Thanos, you're watching Practical Wealth, and today I would like to present you something magical. A life where you don't have to live paycheck to paycheck. If you feel like you are struggling with your finances, agonizingly waiting for the next payday every month, well, you're not alone. An impressive 62% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. And if you think that this is only America's issue, then you're wrong. Because the same problem seem to face nearly 50% of workers in Australia, 45% in the UK, and I can go on and on and on and on. Living paycheck to paycheck means that you're using all of your monthly income to cover your expenses with nothing left over for saving or investing. That means that every time you make $100 go out. And this is very, very bad. Okay, I understand that in the beginning it's not easy to get out of that rat race. I mean, I was in the exact same situation years ago. And if it wasn't for the things I'm going to show you today, I would probably still be living paycheck to paycheck. So, if you want to escape this endless cycle, stick with me through this entire video, and if you find it helpful, please do give me a favor and click that thumbs up button, letting the YouTube world know that this video here has value. And also subscribe to the channel so you can get notifications about new videos like this one. As I said, a couple of years ago I was living paycheck to paycheck. In fact, for a time it was so stressful that I felt I could never find a way out of it no matter what I would try. Moreover, I found myself spending even more, going deeper and deeper into credit card debt. So let me know in the comments below. Do you feel the same right now, or have you ever been in this situation before? So what did I do? How did I turn all this around? Well, let me show you 3 very important tips so you can also leave all this behind. Number 1 is tracking your spending. You need to understand exactly where you stand financially, like where you spend every dollar you make. Can you accurately answer questions like how much money you make, how much you spend, or what is your actual net worth right now? Unfortunately, most people don't know how to answer those questions or even how to start looking for this stuff. These are basic questions, and like everything else, if you need to solve a problem to end up with a solution, you have firstly to go back to the basics. Okay, now what you need is to start writing down your budget. I don't mind how you do it, in a piece of paper, in an Excel sheet, or even if you can use a software like Mint or YNAB. Start simple by just making 2 lists. First is your income and second your expenses. In the first one, you want to include every bit of income you currently make, either from your job or any other side hustles you currently have. In the second one, you're gonna list all your expenses and separate them into 3 categories. These 3 categories are fixed expenses. Those are bills that come regularly and they don't change that much. It's like rent, right? It's always kind of the same. Variable expenses. This is the second category, which are bills that we all spend money on every month, but can fluctuate quite a bit, like gas and groceries. And finally, the third category is other expenses, which would be totally optional stuff like going out, delivery food and vacation. There is quite a bit in this category. It's basically stuff that you spend money on, but you could have survived this world without. I'm not saying you shouldn't have those things, just that they don't fit with either fixed or variable expenses. So yeah, this means you're actually going to need to print out your bank statement from the past few months and go line by line through it, giving each and every expense a category. What we've just done here with those categories, it's incredibly important because now you have a full picture for every dollar spent. This way, you can become more aware of your spending habits. If you don't know where your money is going, you won't be able to recognize negative spending behaviors that you can easily change to make your money work for you. While you may have a vague idea of what you do with your cash, it can be hard to get a clear understanding of exactly how your money is distributed on a daily basis until you keep track of it. As you track your spending over time, you'll get a better idea of what's happening with your cash. This makes it much easier to see where you're spending too much of it. Many of your daily expenses may seem really small when you are charging just a few dollars here and there on a credit card, but once you add up everything you spend on dining out, coffee, lottery tickets, or whatever your indulgence is, you may be shocked to find out how much your habits actually cost. The simple act of recording the transaction is often enough to make you change your behavior and be more responsible with your spending, just as keeping a food journal and counting calories can help you eat better and lose weight, which is actually my next goal. But we're not done yet. Knowing something is not the same as doing something. So number 2 is make a financial plan. You have to create a financial system for your money. You see, most people, when they get paid, they firstly spend money on fun stuff, then on their variable or fixed expenses, and the last thing they are going to do, if there's something left, they will consider saving or investing. And that is the wrong way to do it, because simply following the above law, they will probably not have any money left for the last and most important step of the process. Consider doing the opposite for a moment. Now, for example, when you get your salary, try to put some money for savings or investments first. Trust me, your future self will be thrilled. Then, cover all your fixed and variable expenses, and finally, with the remaining portion, go out and have fun. I'm definitely not saying here that you should not enjoy your life or should have fun with your money. After all, you worked hard and you earned your dollars fair and square. But please do yourself a favor and put your future self first in this equation. So, let's now move on to percentages and how much money you should put in every category. There is a 50-30-20 budget rule from Elizabeth Warren, and that can help us here. According to Warren, you can divide up your after-tax income and allocate it to 50% on needs, 30% on wants, and 20% to savings or investments. So, let's say you make $1,000 every month after taxes. Now you know that the first thing you do is put $200 for your savings, you can spend $500 to pay off your bills and other expenses, and you can enjoy the remaining $300 however you see fit. Now, every dollar you're making has a purpose. You don't want any dollars just sitting there wondering how it should be spent. Of course, if 20% for savings is too much for you, you can start lower and build it up over time. The actual percentages are not what's most important at this time. What's important at this stage is shape and shift your mindset with the way you manage your money. And since we are talking about mindset, let's move to the third and last tip for today. So there are two issues I would like to address here. The first one is about debt. We live in a society where when people want something, they want it now. But what happens if you don't have the cash to buy it? Unfortunately, that's when you turn to debt. According to New York Federal Reserve Bank data, total household debt reached $13.95 trillion in the third quarter of 2019. That amount puts it $1.3 trillion higher than the previous peak of $12.68 trillion in debt registered in the third quarter of 2008 during the midst of the financial crisis. Playing around with debt is a recipe for disaster. I mean, you can't get ahead that way. So you have to stop financing things. If it does not pay you, you do not finance it. The only exception to this is probably your house, so no more going into credit card debt, no more financing things with installment plans and payment plans, no more buying things you cannot afford with cash. Most people believe that, okay, if I have $200 in my bank account, I can go and spend $200. No, if you only have $200 in your bank account, you should not be spending $200. There's a difference between being able to buy things and being able to afford things. The second one is a bit more fundamentally based on our perception about things' value. So the issue with people living paycheck to paycheck is that they are basically living on the liability side of the equation. Liability we call something that keeps losing you money. So things like your car, your clothes, your vacations are nice and they make you look good, but they are keeping you broke. If you buy something and it doesn't put more money back into your pocket, it is a liability, while assets on the other side are things that you buy for the sole purpose of making money. So an asset might be a stock, it might be a real estate as an investment, or it might be commodities or a cryptocurrency. What wealthy people do is they take their money and not spend it on fancy cars, on expensive clothes, or things that will make them look rich on social media, but they spend as much money as possible on assets, because assets is what keep wealthy people wealthy. The problem that we really have as a society is this. When you hear that 62% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck, all of those people are on the liability side. Because if you ask the majority of people here, why are you living paycheck to paycheck? Everybody will tell you things like, it is an income problem, I'm not making enough money, if I just made more money, if I made an extra 10,000 a year, then I would have more money. However, according to a survey fielded by Salary Finance of 2,700 US adults working at companies with over 500 employees, there's no big difference between the percent of people who stated that they ran out of money before payday among different income levels. What we've seen happen time and time again is that as people make more money, they just buy more. So what happens is people make more money, but then suddenly their expenses go up with their income, and this is the time when you have to really take a step back and understand what's going on. Everybody's gonna tell you that they're living paycheck to paycheck because they are not making enough money. And of course, the amount of money you make is a factor, and it can amplify how fast you become wealthy, but it's not the sole factor. What you have to understand is how you spend that money. Because when your mindset is what's keeping you broke, it doesn't matter how much money you make. I hope at this point you can see how this all works together to create a true financial freedom, because when you own your money situation, then you put yourself in the position to make real changes happen. When you dominate your money situation, you put yourself in the driver's seat and you begin directing what happens. And finally, that is how you stop living paycheck to paycheck. So, if you found the video helpful, please do me a favor and make sure you click that little thumbs up button. And I hope you have a fantastic weekend. See you next Friday. Bye bye.